Hello and good evening. At least it's good evening here. Of course, you could be watching this at any time. Anyway, first thing to say is that I've got a new mic, so the sound on this video and the last City Skylines should have been a little bit of an improvement from the previous ones. I got a Samsung Meteor microphone, I think it is. I think it's called Meteor, I'm not sure. But if anybody is looking for a microphone, I'd strongly recommend that one. It's very small, it's tidy, it's portable, and it's not that expensive. It's about 50 quid or something. Anyway, let's get back to what we're doing here. I've paused the video because, as you can see, I'm going through some kind of a disaster here, it would seem. And I was playing this game I was just concentrating on trying to get as many of these things as possible so that I could perhaps build one of these, what are they called, these monuments, and I've only got one that I can do. Anyway, as I was doing that, I wasn't paying much attention, and when I looked up I just saw this sea of abandoned buildings all over the place. I'm gonna cough, excuse me. And I'm still pausing. Yeah. And I think it's to do with people not being able to have their loved ones who have died shipped away to the graveyards here. See this? It's none of them have any room. And it really is bizarre because I feel that I've put in so many of these things. I mean, if I click here, oh no, that's landfill here. If I click here, I mean, honestly, they do seem to be just all over the place. I don't know how there is any short. I mean, each of these things holds thousands of people. And if I look here, the crematorium has a huge amount. The cemetery has a capacity of 114,000 and it's got 50,000. I mean, I've got more than enough. But perhaps the reason is, if it's not the availability of the space, perhaps it is the traffic. The traffic, it kind of got away from me fairly early in this game, and to be honest, I never really focused on it hard enough. It's not bad here. It doesn't seem to be that bad. But as you go over here, which is kind of the latest place, this is where everything is building here at the moment. And I guess you can see here that, well, there's big problems there, there's big problems here. In fact, all over that area, all over here, so yeah. I would imagine that what the problem really is then is that there is traffic jams everywhere. And so all these, this is what they look like here. This is a hearse. And I guess these things are, can I go down here? Oh, I can. Can I check one out? Well, maybe I'm Junior. They're all stuck in traffic, and that has caused serious problems. If there is one thing these citizens don't like, is sitting around at home with a dead person. I suppose it's understandable. Well, I've never been down with this city mod thing, with the place on pause like this. It's a bit weird. Anyway, let's go up. So yeah, I mean, you can see that that's really the problem. There is just too much traffic, not enough decent roads are really kind of messed up. The new area here, is it here? Because I've put in lots of very, very long single roads. They're not very, and even if there were bigger roads, well, that doesn't really work, as you can see. I also built lots of things. I don't know how much this thing cost to build. The upkeep is that much. So I got carried away with the expenses, and I guess I could turn a lot of those things off. Otherwise, there isn't much of a demand. Obviously, there's no demand for anything at the moment because I'm losing about 1,000 people every, however, I don't know, every week or every, I don't know what that is. And so my city is in a pretty bad spot at the moment. So I'm going to turn it on, and there we go. We're running at a fairly slow speed. I still haven't figured out how to do the metro properly. I think it's just a case of clicking from one station to the other and having a line going one way and then the other. And I guess from here my lines are all going in one direction. That's probably what that is. But what's going to have to happen here is this kind of death wave, when you get a lot of people kicking the bucket at the same time, plus the traffic problems. They're going to have to subside, or I'm going to be so broke that and there you go, I'm going into the red, and that's going to drop very quickly. My population is still dropping, and you can see there's just an enormous amount of abandoned buildings. So I know I could start switching things off, but to be honest, I can't be bothered. I do like some of these buildings here. They're very I love the way the light reflects in them. Yeah, I got totally into this monument business, and I just spent the last hour or so just really trying to find a way of unlocking all of these things, and I think in doing that I spent a lot of money. And anyway, the only thing I unlocked was the fusion power plant, which costs $1 million, so I'm not sure I'll ever be able to afford it at this point. The traffic is moving some places. In fact, it seems to be extremely quiet in other places. What is this? This is the Modern Art Museum. But of course now, unless I take lots of loans, I could take, oh, I've got 200,000. Let's take this one, and then let's take this one, and let's leave that one to the end. The taxes are at 10, 10, 10, 9, 9, 9. I guess I could turn them up a bit, but I'd have to, how far can they go? I'd have to put them up so much to try and fix this. I don't think it would be worth it, and I don't really want to do that. Must admit, I don't know why everybody seems to have died at the same time. This happened before as well, and I think it's just a kind of phenomenon in this game that everybody, you just get times when you have a lot of dead people at the one time. All right. For some reason, I'm making money again. I don't know how. If it stays like that, +6. I guess the city will carry on. But to be honest, all I really want to do now is, because my objective really is just to get enough money to be able to install some of these monuments, and after that I don't think I'm going to be doing anything else here. I think I'll probably move on to start another town. My God, look at that. It's like every other building is abandoned. And it's all the same. It's all no one collected dead person. It's like every single one is going to be like that. See, it's weird because I've got two graveyards here. Now they've both got lots of space. So maybe they were full earlier on. Doesn't look too bad when you go quite up, when you go down like that. Looks pretty desperate. But you can see the traffic, and I think the traffic is the main cause of this. It's like in SimCity, nothing can get anywhere, so that's why nothing is collected. Well, it looks like we have weathered the storm, so to speak. We have come through that that night of abandoned houses, and now we seem our Westdale city seems to be on the ascendancy again. But with the traffic the way it is, and with the well, the problems that we just saw where nothing is collected, it's kind of a problem is going to keep coming back, because as soon as the population grows, these roads are less and less capable of handling the traffic. Not all of them, but certain roads. So I get the feeling anyway from looking at this that I'm not going to, I may get the population up, like I already had it up to about 130,000, and I may do that again, and I could draw in more. I mean, there's plenty of zoning you could do, but I kind of feel I'm at the end of what I can do in this town, because parts of it are laid out so badly, and overall it looks so ugly, parts of it, that I just don't have the will to go around correcting all the mistakes I've made. This must be the office area, because these are very long roads with not a lot of intersections, and yet they're completely empty. That's another thing about this game which is a little bit weird. Lots of people work here, and yet you can almost count the cars. There's not really that many, and yet you go up to the residential area. Well, even the residential area seems to be a lot quieter than it was. Well, except here. I don't know, where are all these people going? Are they going shopping or what? These buildings here are all abandoned. And they're abandoned because nobody collected dead people. And for this place, it is a bit weird, because maybe this was full, but honestly, for him to complain, he's got two graveyards like outside his front door. That's kind of fucking stupid. You don't even have to collect it, you can just bring the body here. It's right here. Look, is there any room here? Yeah, there's room for another 2,000 people. And here, yep, there's room for about 1,500 people. So that stuff just keeps happening, I guess. And anyway, I have to say the only part of this city I really liked was this this street. This is the only place I really like. It's here. It's got a kind of nice feel to it, with the statues and everything, and this nice roundabout that I built. Otherwise, I did okay. It was my first city that I stuck with. It was the first time I got up to 60. Is it 60? I think it's 65. Yeah, 65,000. It's the first time I got that far. It's the first time I unlocked all of these things, although I can't afford any of them now. It's also the first time that I experimented just a little bit with things like trains. This is my experimental train track, which really serves absolutely no purpose whatsoever. It's almost like a kiddie's ride it's like a fairground ride that you pay on and go around. A couple of dollars. It isn't. And I've got this a cargo terminal. I don't know if I've even done that properly, if it's been used. I have a feeling it's not connected properly. I mean, I have it connected at the back here. It's going around. That's connected there. This is connected here. But I don't know if it needs to be connected somewhere else. So I experimented with that for the first time. I have an airport here, which I did for the first time. Airports in city building games are always a bit kind of naff, because I just don't think you could. I mean, look at the size of the space for the plane. It's just, there's no way. There's no way. I think if you really wanted to build a proper airport in one of these games, you'd be talking about a complete tile, all just for the airport. That's the only way that would be realistic. That you'd have the airport in here, and then you'd have, like in a real airport, you'd have all the runways here. But it would take up so much space. And I wish they'd do that. I wouldn't mind devoting a whole tile to an airport if it was advantageous in some way, but this thing is kind of stupid. It's like this. SimCity was the same. The airport systems in that were a bit stupid. Even the big airport you built in SimCity, it was one of the great works, and that was a bit daft as well. I like the way they take off. I've seen planes take off like that in some airports. There's an airport in Nice, and the plane does kind of go up and spin around like that. So that part's quite good, but it's just the size of it, and one plane and nothing else. No vans, nothing going out collecting passengers, no people. It's not really in any way realistic. I did like the cargo thing here. Again, I just really built this because I was trying to unlock some monuments and I needed to build various things. So this thing is probably in a hopeless place, but I like the ships here. They're not bad looking. I did some, for the first time as well, I did some metros. I did a small one here, just to see how this thing works, and that did work out pretty well. There's a line going that way, and there's a line going the other way, and that's really all you need to do with that. I did one over, where is it? Oh, I did one here, but I didn't have the money to finish it. I'm going to do that now. But I also did one here, and as you can see with the little symbols there, I never really got that working properly. I don't think I connected them very well. Anyway, since we're here, let's just finish this. I tried to do this before, I didn't have the money. So there we go, I've put the tunnel in. And then all you do is you click on one station, and then you go all the way across here, because that's where you want the thing to go. Boom. And then you can go back, and there you go, that works. So that the train, the tube train, I don't know what, the subway, the train goes that way, and then it goes around, it goes back. And that is a little subway system. Probably could do with a lot more subway systems here, but it's a bit late, really. Look at that. I mean, the whole town. Population doesn't look too bad here, and the money is okay, but there's no demand. And well, I think it's a good time to say goodbye to Westdale, to be honest. It's a good time to say goodbye to Westdale, and I've learned a lot from this place, and I can take that with me and put it into my next city. This, by the way, is that's nine tiles. You got 3 across there, 3 across here, and 3 here. That's kind of the total space that the game kind of suggests you use. I think there's various ways to increase that, but that's big enough for me.